Hello everyone, welcome back. So this is the part 3 of us reacting to the MatPat Fnaf timeline.
Yeah, because he's stupid.
Honestly, I didn't hate it as much as I thought I would.
I do.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory and page 20 of our final Fnaf timeline.
God.
No one cares.
As well as their captured custody. He made the robot count for, though, were the finishing up chapter 10 with tragic. Won't be finishing the timeline today. To break this one up into with a live talk commercial. I love that episode.
Okay, here we are.
Here we go.
Okay, he makes his intros so very long. You just need to get into the video, my dude.
William still wasn't back. Weird. Michael knew his father sometimes traveled for work, disappearing for days on end, but usually there was some sort of notice, a phone call, a post-it, something. It's not like Michael and his father were close, far from it. But as a household of two suffering men coping with years of tragedy and loss, there was at least some element of communication between the two of them. They were united by a name and a shared pain. This time though, things felt different. William had left nothing. His absence was longer. There were no check-ins, no updates, just silence. Something had happened. If there was one thing Michael knew about his father, it was that he had
Wait, has he gotten spring locked yet?
Yes.
Okay.
contingencies, safety checks, backup plans. His father was a careful and guarded man. He held his cards close to his chest, and as such, William had prepared him in the event that something like this ever happened. Normally, his father kept his home office locked, but in the event of an unexpected, prolonged absence, Michael had been instructed to enter his father's office.
I'm not really sure this is coming from that book. It's been a while since I've read that book. But I do not remember any mention of Michael in any way, shape, or form. Except for the very last one, Felix the Shark. There was a story in there about Michael. I gotta Google now what the 3 stories in Step Closer were.
Step closer and coming home and one other.
What stories were in Step Closer Fnaf book? Okay. This is... Okay. Dance with Me and Coming Home. Coming Home is the 3rd story. I remember Step Closer. That had nothing to do with it. It's where that kid got his... He was cursed by Foxy, which was weird. And then Dance With Me, that was the one where that person was cursed by Ballora. And then Coming Home. What was Coming Home?
Susie.
FNAF book. Oh, you sure?
Positive.
No. Usually if I go to images. Oh, it was the Susie one. Okay. Well, I think that MatPat...
Got his evidence. Probably not.
I'm not gonna say that he didn't, but I do not remember any mention of anything like this in any of those books. Because I remember those 3 books. Those are 3 I do remember. Some other ones I'm kind of iffy. Because Coming Home was with Susie and that weirdness, and then there's Possessed by Ballora, and then there's Being Cursed by Foxy.
Come on,
So,
let's go.
anyway, yes.
Turn it on.
Don't rush me!
Yes.
Oh! You know what it might be from? The epilogues. I never read the epilogues, so, maybe.
And looked behind an empty set of shelves mounted in the corner of the room. Rolling his eyes, Michael entered the office. Never fully understood how William was able to spend so many hours of his days locked up in here. There was just nothing to do. Most of this place was empty. He dragged himself over to the shelf in the corner, expecting to find an emergency contact list, a family safety deposit box. But what he actually found there was completely unexpected.
Father, it's me, Michael. I did it. I found it. It was right where you said it would be.
The shelf swung open and revealed a giant industrial elevator, one that led straight down into an underground bunker. But that was impossible. Hidden inside his childhood home was a secret entrance to an enormous underground science lair? It didn't make any sense. Seriously, it didn't make any sense. And yet,
Bro, don't be acting like this is some shocker, MatPat. You live for the not making any sense.
That's
you
the
make
FNAF
your
4 house, correct?
Yes. You make your cash off of the not making any sense so you can whip out these weird theories.
Remember that one time we played that Roblox game
No.
with FNAF
No.
Animatronic World?
Yes.
I think it'd be cool in that game if they had the office in sister location connect to the FNAF 4 Nightmare House.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. It's just a lot to have on top of each other.
Yeah, no, but like it's an underground area in the first place, and
Yeah, but still, it's probably not underground. It's probably somewhere way out of bounds.
yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's just forget I said
There it
anything.
was, mapped directly underneath the floor plan of the house that he'd grown up in, lost his brother in, been tortured in. Michael thought that he'd known his father, a prideful, sad, angry man with petty, everyday problems, but clearly he'd been living with a stranger this entire time. His father had secrets. Suddenly, the days of William being locked inside of his office made sense. He'd been here the entire time. Where was here, though? Was this Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rentals? The Circus Baby restaurant always did seem to be a deeply personal project for father. A failure of his that cut unusually deep, especially after that first location had to be closed prematurely due to the gas leaks. After that day, father really did seem to change,
Change to a pancake commercial.
Bro, he changed into that pancake. What's up with that child?
lose himself even more in his work. Clearly, the entrance he had found was some sort of secret back way into the facility, one that
A back room?
The back rooms.
required crawling through vents to navigate. His father had been working here, but in secret. Why? And that's when he found her. At the end of the facility, Circus Baby. His father's pride and joy. Except something was different about her. She wasn't like the others. The way she talked, the
She's not like the other girls, for real.
stories she told. This wasn't just a robot. She was alive, somehow. And not only was she alive, she also felt familiar.
There is something bad inside of me. I'm broken. I can't be fixed. Will you help me?
Was this his sister? William's baby girl? But how? Why? What was this place? He dug around some old files and found blueprints outlining the features of these animatronics. Storage containers, voice mimicking, parental tracking. And was that a child in Freddy's stomach?
Is it?
He dug around some old files and found
I gotta
blueprints
look at this
outlining
again,
the
I'm
features of
sorry.
these animatronics. Storage
Okay, C says voice mimicking
containers,
and
voice
lore.
mimicking, parental tracking. And was that a
I'm not. Oh. I mean,
Jesus.
yes, but no. I see where he gets that.
child in Freddy's stomach?
I think he's trying to put together. I think that's nothing, but I can see that it does kind of look like there's a child in
It does
there.
look like there's a child in there. It's probably nothing.
It's probably nothing. It's just how the things aligned, but that is kind of creepy.
Yeah, but the fact that it's on this side and the other side, like the front view and the side
Is
view
it
of
on-
Funtime Freddy, it's still plausible.
It's,
a plausible
yeah, that's
theory.
creepy. I don't think, but it's
Like
a
that-
blueprint. But it's blueprint, so it wouldn't actually show the child.
Well, I mean, maybe it's. I mean, because there's no physical features of the child, maybe it's just simulating what it would look like with a child in there.
Possibly. Yeah, that's creepy.
Was his father collecting and experimenting on kids? Were all the rumors that he'd heard throughout his past actually true? That the animatronics came to life at night? That there were murders done in all the pizzerias? That his father had somehow been the prime suspect in all of it? Suddenly, Michael's mind flashed back to his persistent nightmares throughout his childhood. Had he been experimented on too? Tears stung in his eyes as anger, fear, and confusion filled his body. His father's secrets were pouring out. William wasn't just a lame, overworked father. He was a monster, toying with life itself. Suddenly, everything clicked. He frantically looked around the room, blinking human heads on poles staring back at him.
I don't think those are actual human heads.
They're called that in the book.
They're called the human heads. They're not actual human heads.
They're not actual human heads,
I
but
think,
they're called
honestly,
human heads.
They're like, I don't even know what they were. They're just supposed to be part of they're animatronic
Yes,
heads.
but the name for the thing is human
But
heads.
they're not real human heads!
But they look, they're animatronic human heads. Now start the episode.
Green eyes, his sister. Blue eyes, his brother. Closed eyes, his mom.
I'm not feeling that theory, you know? Also, how you selling those colors there, my dude? I see gray, and nothing.
I just see nothing.
I see gray. The nothing abounds. Anyway, yeah, I'm not feeling that theory, my dude.
All just staring, expectantly. These were meant to be human.
Except for the one that's got its eyes closed, it stares into its own eyelids.
William was working down here trying to make believable humans, literally rebuilding the family that they had
Okay, you know what?
lost. The small little girl robots with their British accents roaming the whole
Do they have British accents?
I've never been killed by Bitty Babs.
Yeah, but you hear them talk, right?
No, well, yeah. Once.
I'm not like 1,000% sure they got British accents.
Yeah. Bitty Bab minigame is really easy.
Ways of this underground facility suddenly took on a whole new context.
Hello in there. Is it the same person?
Oh, I hear it now. Never mind. It's been a while since I played the Bitty
Were
Bab.
those meant to be his sister? A replacement for her? A clone? Was William building clones of his sister? They seemed to know.
No, I'm like.
Those
9.
aren't even human size. They're like, I could
They're
put
like-
that thing like a damn football.
Bro, it's like the size of baby little music boy that lives inside the vents as a Cure Beast. He's not cloning them. Those are just Circus Baby's henchmen.
Yeah.
Him,
Exactly.
after all, to react to his presence.
They were all there. They didn't recognize me at first, but then they thought I was you.
He always did have a bit of a resemblance to his father. Michael's mind reeled as the reality of his world crumbled to dust. No, he had to get them out of there. If this really was his sister, heck, if any of these things were human, souls, whatever remnant of the humans that they once were, they needed to be rescued.
They always put us back inside. There's nowhere for us to hide here.
Led by the voice of Circus Baby, he marched through the now empty halls of the Funtime Auditorium. He would lead them. He would protect them. And finally, he would be able to forgive himself for the killing of his brother so many years.
Damn.
He got scooped up into
Sonic
a Sonic.
garlic butter bacon
Yeah, man,
cheeseburger.
he became a Sonic burger for real.
That's actually probably what they.
Extreme
oh my God.
length. Ultimate.
No
dip-
one cares.
You are in the scooping room now. The scooper only hurts for a moment.
Scooper? That violent extraction arm? Michael had seen that one in the pile of blueprints. Something about heat rendering the magical silver metal inside useless. In
That's
reality,
from-
prior to getting himself
Okay,
sprayed.
shut up, Pat. That's from Pizzeria Simulator.
you're-
You can shut
Yes,
up.
but no, it's supposed to be like a reference back to it. Even though he finds it in the Pizzeria Simulator, I think he's got a point that it probably was in the sister location.
Probably.
Also, Michael just stands there while Circus Baby does her speech and just lets Circus Baby scoop him. So, you know.
Locked and put behind the wall, William's methods had become increasingly sophisticated. With a mechanized arm that could infuse new bodies with a soul, William could finally give and take away life. The only thing he needed were the bodies. But William wasn't the only one looking for bodies, as Michael was about to learn.
But if we looked like you, then we could hide. If we looked like you, then we would have somewhere to go.
Michael was gonna be the hero to help these animatronics, all right. He was gonna help the haunted tubes and wires of these animatronics escape, just not in the way that he anticipated. His sister had lied to him, another game of pretend. The scooper plowed forward, digging its extraction arm into his body. As he heard his bones ripping through his flesh, Michael blacked out.
But something is wrong with me. I should be dead, but I'm not.
For the next several months, Michael's life was not his own. He was forced to comply with the tangle of wires and spirits that lived inside of him. His body felt like an overfilled balloon begging to burst as day by day, week by week, his flesh began to sag and discolor. He was a walking, talking, rotting corpse, alive, but wishing he wasn't. He was a puppet, a walking shell. And while he did his best to conceal his fate, there was only so much a man filled with robot spaghetti could do. The entity in his innards would eventually leave, but by that point, the damage had been done. His decaying flesh stank, turning him into a literal purple guy. But still, even with...
I don't think that is what
I'm
dead
pretty
bodies look like when they rot. I think it's just... I don't know, it represents it in a certain way, but I don't think in real life that Michael would actually be
I saw a theory
purple.
that Michael's body regenerated because of the El Remnanto.
Yeah, actually, that's a good theory. But his body isn't actually purple. It's more like a shade of brown.
Mm-hmm.
Like a tan.
bones. Even with rotting purple flesh and begging to die, Michael continued to live. That silvery metal
Not
remnant
purple.
injected by the scooper meant that he couldn't die. His anger also refused to die. What he had seen down there in his sister's location had rocked him to his core. His father had killed and captured dozens. His experiments had killed his sister and then tortured him throughout all his childhood. He was actively trying to build human replicants. He didn't know where his father was, but Michael knew that he was out there somewhere.
I've been living in shadows. There is only one thing left for me to do now. I'm going to come find you.
Michael had to correct for the sins of his father. He had to make things right. Michael would burn Fazbear Entertainment to the ground. I mean, what else could you do when your skin was permanently purple? Michael's strategy was simple.
For the last time. It's not purple!
He would apply for night security guard positions at the old defunct pizzeria locations. That way no one ever had to see him or smell him during his shift. And all these old shuttered locations did need guards. Teenage vandals and squatters were always looking to get inside these abandoned buildings, and yet no one ever really wanted to work an overnight graveyard shift unless they were practically out of options. Enter Mike. One by one, he would take on the job of security guard, changing his name each time to ensure that no one was able to follow his paper trail. Once inside, he could tamper with the animatronics and figure out how they worked, writing about his experiences in his security logbook. While there, he would listen to the old tapes where upper management awkwardly welcomed new recruits to their summer jobs, even though he was working there nowhere near the summer months. He heard the gory details of his father's franchise from the outsiders looking in, confused and afraid about what was happening in the walls around them. Sometimes he would see his brother in the form of the Golden Freddy suit. It's me appearing on the walls around him. Except now, there was something else there. He was no longer alone. Another angrier presence was also in the suit, as if two spirits were forced to share the same body. And Golden Freddy would attack him now. It was aggressive. Its vengeance wanted to lash out at anyone with the Afton name, anyone who wore a security guard outfit. Over time, Mike worked his way through the old restaurants, the original pizzeria, the bigger, better Freddy Fazbear's. He spent weeks there looking for clues as to his
We're turning up the brightness.
father's whereabouts, and each time at the end of his week's shift, he would then set the location on fire. Remnant can't survive high temperatures after all. So burning away whatever spirit-laden animatronics that still existed inside seemed like a winning strategy. All this revisiting of his past, though, was causing the nightmares to begin again.
I don't think he burnt down FNAF 1, the first FNAF 1 and FNAF 2 location, because I just don't think that he did. I think because he got fired too soon to burn those two down. But the FNAF 3 and FNAF 6 locations.
Hallucinations that brought him back to his childhood. The guilt around killing his brother. His dreams were oddly mixed with the shrill phone calls of the security guards. But it would all be worth it in the end. The goal was to eventually stumble across the one location, the one job that would finally reunite him with his father. Little did Mike know that that day would come sooner than he expected.
Oh, sorry, I was trying to do things. I'm not sure the Gumball Angel, what was it called?
Gumball Angel.
Gumdrop Angel. Let's see what books were in that one.
Or not.
Bro, I have interwebs. Gumdrop Angel. I didn't even know what I was searching. What stores are in the Gumdrop Angel? Oh, what'd it do? Oh, no, I gotta search it. What stories are in the Gumdrop Angel? Do tell. Room for one more. Oh, no, wait, hold on. I need the more rows. Give me the rows. It's Wikipedia. Never trust Wikipedia. Okay.
Scroll back up.
I missed it. Where is it?
This is just Gumdrop Angel, not the entire book. Dude, it's not that deep.
It is that deep for me!
Here, just go to the more
Stubby.
rows. Go to the
That's
more
what
rows.
I did. That's what I did.
Okay.
I pushed that, and this is what it gave me, because it's full of shit. Because this thing is not useful in any way, shape, or form.
You're not useful in any way, shape, or form.
FNAF book.
Bruh.
What stories
Okay, stop.
are in the 8th FNAF? Oh my god. The Lucky Boy and what we found. What is the plot of what we found? Fnaf book. I can't remember this one. Just better give me a one sentence of what is this book about. Oh, I remember this one. Okay, so it might have been in the epilogues.
2023, an advertisement came across Mike's TV. Fazbear Frights, a new horror attraction in...
You couldn't at least, like, get an actual picture of Fazbear Frights? Like, you gotta give me this shit?
It's funny.
It's shameful.
It's funny.
Inspired by the awful crimes that occurred around Freddy Fazbear's Pizza so many years ago, it made Mike sick. People looking to make a quick buck off the tragedy of others, off his own family. This wasn't a joke or entertainment. Regardless, he had to be a part of it. If this team was combing through his family's history, they might stumble across something that could be useful. And if his father was truly still alive as he suspected, there would be no way that he wouldn't show up here. Maybe finally this could be the final chapter in his family's marathon of tragedy. Mike applied for the job and was immediately handed the keys. Years of doing this had taught him that security guards rarely receive thorough security checks. They also liked how creepy Mike looked. They thought it was a costume, on theme for the job. What little they knew.
Hey, glad you came back for another night. I promise it'll be a lot more interesting this time.
For weeks, there was nothing. But just as Mike considered giving up, he received the call that he'd been waiting for years.
You're not gonna believe this. We found one. A real one.
Could this finally be him? Sure enough, there he was. William inside his iconic golden Bonnie Springlock suit, only now it was green and decaying with age. And there they were, a small family of broken men finally reunited. It's been a long time, Dad. Mike had always struggled with the phantoms of his past haunting him, but now all the animatronics he'd encountered over the past months, hopping from pizzeria to pizzeria, suddenly sprang to life, their burned faces haunting him as he tried to keep track of his father on the camera.
That explains why the phantoms look like the phantoms look.
What? I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. What did he say?
The phantoms look burned because that's the fire explanation. The fact he burned the places to the ground, and that's why the phantoms look like the phantoms look. And that also kind of explains why Withered Foxy, Phantom Foxy is Withered Foxy and Phantom Chica is normal Chica. I still have a grudge against that.
I'm still not convinced.
It would seem that William's mere presence had put the spirits on high alert. Ultimately, they were harmless, more annoying than anything else, but there was one that felt different from the others. One that was more than just a mere phantom. The security puppet. If he looked at the cameras at just the right moment, he could see it floating there through the halls. He could even see its reflection in the water pooled on the ground. It would seem like...
I don't think that's water. I think that's just that the tiles are surprisingly clean and reflective.
He wasn't the only one there on a mission. While he was dealing with Springtrap, Michael assumed that this one was likely dealing with the spirits of this place, finally setting them to rest. Hopefully this means a happier day for all of us, Mike thought to himself. And in that moment, he felt the air around him release, like pressure being let out of a bottle. The building sighed, as if 5 spirits had finally been allowed to move on. He had the sense that his brother was a part of them. He rigged the wiring inside the building to misfire, and the dry, desiccated walls erupted in flames. It is finished.
The best time to get a Reese's?
It's Reese's!
Bro,
But also
he
accept
burned,
all the
and then he
time.
became a Reese's cup.
Ensure your small business with a fellow small business owner. Talk to an agent today.
And then he became
Except
a representative
it
for
was
State Farm.
not. Somehow, through sheer force of will, Afton remained. He had survived, and Mike would need to find a new way of finishing off his father. Luckily, the solution would present itself later that year. Not from Mike, but from another victim that had been left in his father's wake.
We're talking about becoming a Fazbear Entertainment franchisee. Restaurant ownership and management. Something
Here.
almost anyone can do with a limited degree of success. You are now the face of the newly rebranded Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
Fazbear Entertainment.
Can we all agree that hand unit sucks?
Yeah.
Anyway, I had to think real quick. I was like, wait, is that hand unit? It is. I remember. Hand unit sucks. We need to just create an entire something just dedicated to the hatred towards hand unit.
I'll start writing the script.
Not a video. I mean, like our Reddit page.
Yeah. I'll start writing the Reddit.
R// hand unit sucks.
I will start that.
As a brand had been closed for years, William had been stuck in a suit and a wall. The only person who legally could bring the franchise back was Henry, but he'd largely pulled out of the franchise around the time of his father's disappearance. Something was up. Surely this had to be some kind of a trick, right? Mike, doing what he did best, applied for a franchise and immediately got the job. There was just one thing out of the ordinary. Paragraph 4.
If you are playing this tape, that means that not only have you been checking outside at the end of every shift, as you were instructed to do, but also that you have found something that meets the criteria of your special obligations under paragraph 4.
No employment contract he'd ever signed required him to keep special lookout for independently moving animatronics outside the restaurant. Now he knew something was up here. Henry was luring them all back. Rather than trying to go to them, like Mike had done for years, Henry was doing the opposite. He was putting them all under the same roof. He was finishing them off for good. Mike knew this wasn't meant to be a restaurant. It was meant to be a prison, a containment vessel, a locked box meant to trap them all in so they could finally end the madness. It took a few nights, but eventually everyone was there. His father, the puppet, the robot Spaghetti that had once violated his body, and his sister, now hopelessly devoted to serve the man that had once gotten her killed. It was time. He had been instructed to seal the doors and leave, but while he locked everything down, he didn't move on. If this was truly meant to be the end, if the remnant needed to be washed away, he needed to be a part of that.
This is where your story ends. And to you, my brave volunteer, who somehow found this job listing not intended for you. Although there was a way out planned for you, I have a feeling that's not what you want. I have a feeling that you are right where you want to be. And to you monsters trapped in the corridors, be still and give up your spirits. They don't belong to you. For most of you, I believe there is peace and perhaps more waiting for you after the smoke clears. Although for one of you, the darkest pit of hell has opened to swallow you whole. So don't keep the devil waiting, old friend.
And with that,
So
That music slaps.
anyway, so I want to talk about this. So there's this theory going around that it wasn't actually Michael in the pizzeria simulator, and that Henry got some random dude and burned him to death.
Nah.
I know that
The line, "this job listing was not intended for you," that probably means it was Michael.
yeah, but
Because
still,
Michael was the last person he expected.
But I just think it'd be funny if just Henry got this random dude and he just
killed him.
It's like, there was a way out intended for you. I don't think that's what you want. It's just like Joe Schmo, just like, what did I do?
It's like, I just wanted to get paid $3 an hour.
Exactly.
it was over. The Afton legacy died with all of them trapped inside of a literal...
One of you. Wait, actually, two of you is not like the other. Two of you is not the same. Yeah.
How so?
They're not. Actually, he said all the Aftons burned. We got 2 Aftons on the right and 2 non-Aftons on the left.
I mean, well,
Two of you
Ballora
is
technically...
One of you is not like the other. One of you is not the same.
Okay, here's what I'm thinking. It might have been Ballora who's piloting this one.
Why? It's literally Funtime Freddy. You can
Okay,
hear
well,
his
maybe
voice.
that Funtime Freddy's voice box is the only one they could
Mason.
find. Shut up. Okay,
It's just another Freddy.
It's the Freddy for the sake of having a Freddy.
We already have a Freddy. Why couldn't we have a Foxy, my dude?
Because Foxy's not important.
We got Bonnie, Foxy, Freddy, other. See, it'd be perfect. Anyway, and the girl. Exactly.
Dumb girl.
Anyway.
As the flames danced around the office, Mike, for the first time in decades, was happy. But William wasn't gone yet. Although the darkest pit
Oh, that picture was terrifying.
hell was open and waiting for him, something or someone wouldn't allow him to move on. Instead, he found himself locked in moments from his past. The pizzeria, his son's room, his underground bunker. It was as if his brain's neurons were all firing at once, overloaded, mixing and matching all his biggest fears, regrets, failures. What was this place? How did he get here? He called out into the silence.
And then he became a Sonic
Denton
Burger.
barbecue
Called out
cheeseburger.
in silence for a Sonic burger.
Then they started coming. Without warning, animatronics, both new and old, began to jump out at him, bite him, rip him limb from limb. The pain was immeasurable. Make it stop. Make it stop. William, for the first time, longed for death, an end to this torture. Just as it felt like he couldn't take it anymore, everything was quiet again. It was as if the world had been reset. There was a brief moment of quiet, and then the onslaught began again. Dozens of faces from his past all focused on him. A waking nightmare that he couldn't escape from. More pain, more ripping. It was his own personal hell, but why? Why couldn't he just die? And then he saw them, a group of characters he never thought he'd see again. Those janky, stolen characters that had started everything. The mediocre melodies. It had all started to go wrong once they showed up. Once Henry had made them. But mixed in with their obnoxious southern drawls, William heard something else. It was barely a whisper, but he could just make out the words.
He tried to release you. He tried to release us. But I'm not gonna let that happen. I will hold you here. I will keep you here. No matter how many times they burn us.
That is terrifying.
Yeah.
I guess I've never gotten jump scared by Orville that
Because he's Orville. All the mediocre melodies work exactly the same.
I've never gotten jump scared by Orville. I have UCN, but I've just never... And if I have, I guess I missed that. That's creepy. That's very
Voice. He knew that voice, but from where?
Greetings from the fire, and from the one you should not have killed.
The one he shouldn't have killed. William thought back. He'd done a lot of awful things, but there was always the one that stood out. Not Charlie, his drunken act of revenge. Not Susie, his first true murder, no. Instead, it was the one that he had lost control with. The one that he had broken beyond repair for no good reason other than because he could. The one that he'd stuffed inside the golden bear that his partner used to wear. Cassidy. They were back, and now they were trying to punish him, to make him suffer like he'd made them suffer. It was almost like William and Cassidy's souls had been locked together, fused by a collective rage and spite, each refusing to move on. But while Cassidy was so focused on taking revenge, they actually did the one thing that would be the downfall for so many others. They kept William alive. Even though fire should have destroyed the remnant that was coursing through his being, Cassidy kept William breathing, paving the way for his escape. William's will was so strong, his soul so powerful that he managed to put a part of himself inside the circuitry that housed the spring-lock suit. And there, his consciousness lay, inside a single circuit board, waiting for someone to find him and set him free. A person that no one would suspect. Okay, so a bit of a shorter...
No more. No more! So we're not going to listen to the outro. I don't want to.
No. I do not want to. He's just going to clarify a couple things that nobody cares about.
Wait. Is that a peep back there?
I think so.
That's a peep!
I think it's supposed to be Spring Bonnie.
It's a peep!
But it's a peep.
Bro, he thought it was a Spring Bonnie, but legit, that is a peep.
But the fact it's yellow just makes it look
No. Here, we're gonna look up Peep Funko Pop. Bunny, Peep, Funko Pop, yellow. It's a peep! It's a peep!
Wow.
Funny.
Funny bunny.
Okay, anyway, that's the end of that. Goodbye now. Anything to add?
No.